What is up, everybody? Yay! Welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode number... Good clapping. Really fun. Welcome to episode number 116 of Ginger Runner Live, and welcome to a whole new audience since we're doing tonight's... Rookie maneuver. Since we're doing this episode early, we're about 3 hours earlier than regular show time because my guests tonight are in Europe, so I think accommodating their schedule actually works out a bit in our favor this week. We're doing something a little bit different. So now we have a bunch of Europeans being able to tune into Ginger Runner Live because normally the show is very late in Euro time. So welcome those of you who are tuning into Ginger Runner Live for the very first time after years of being a supporter of the show and watching the archive. Welcome to the live show. We're going to interview our guests tonight. We're going to talk to them. If you have questions during the live broadcast, as always, bring them into the chat room because...
I am keeping my eye out, and you guys are already asking a ton of great questions, so keep them coming. People
really
already
excited.
commented on your glasses.
Okay, I'll talk about this in the main show. I won't talk about it yet. There's a reason why I'm wearing my glasses, and I can even show you up close why. Tonight's guests, Alicia Shay Chris Vargo, fresh off of some hot performances at Transvulcania 2016. I've been saving that sentence all day. It came out a lot grosser than it did in my head. Regardless, I'm so excited to talk to these friends of the show, friends of mine, friends of Kim's, about Transvulcania because it looks and sounds like an incredibly brutal race. We've talked to Sage about it in the past. He's been on the show a number of times as well, and he did incredibly well there this year. But we're going to talk to Alicia and Chris on tonight's episode. So sit back, relax, grab your adult or childlike beverage, whatever you guys decide to partake in, and welcome to Ginger Runner Live. Ginger Runner. Yay!
Good clapping.
Good, thank you. Welcome, everybody, to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 116. Joined tonight by two incredible athletes, Nike Trail team members, off of some really incredible performances at the 2016 running of Transvulcania, a race that I have not witnessed in person, but over the years have had many guests on that have run this race and have talked about just how brutal it is. Tonight's guests are friends of ours, friends of the show, been on many times, and I can't wait to hear their stories from this race from this year because they both had just awesome performances this year. I am joined by Ms. Alicia Shay and Mr. Chris Vargo, all the way from London. Yay! Okay, great. That's it. Bye, guys.
Bill?
So where are you guys? What's happening? You are not back in the States at this point. You are still international.
Nope. Yeah.
This is how every episode starts with you guys. You don't want to fight who talks first. Where are you guys? What's the story?
So we were in La Palma for the race, and then our plan was to go to Madeira, which is Portuguese island, not that far away from the Canary Islands, northwest of the Canary Islands, about an hour and a half flight. So we were there for about a week, getting ready for that race, the Madeira Sky Race, and we just had some personal stuff that we had to get home and take care of, and so we had to botch that race, which we're bummed because Madeira is a killer island too. It's you saw our photos from there. It's pretty amazing, and we met some great locals that showed us some great running, and so we're in London right now. To answer your question,
yes,
in London, which both of us have never been here, and we were just walking around. Really cool city. And we leave tomorrow to get back to the States. Mm-hmm. So we'll be back in Flagstaff Wednesday.
Yeah, we had Zach Miller on. Was it last week? No, 2 weeks ago. It was like 2 weeks ago, or yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. And he talked all about Madeira and talked about the island, talked about the race, and it sounds incredible. He actually had some great stories about locals that totally hooked him up with food and stuff like that. But his stories from Madeira just sounded incredible. So I imagine, and looking at your guys' photos, it looks like very impressive. Was it similar to to Arizona Grand Canyon sort of terrain? I mean, it has that.
No. It's nothing like I've really ever seen before. It's nothing like any running we have in the States. It's nothing like La Palma, where Transvulcania is. It's really, really steep terrain everywhere you go on the island. It's just super rugged, really steep, and the mountains there are really jagged, and there's no easy way to run around other than straight up or straight down. So the sky running course there is actually even more extreme than what Zach talked about on your show. The course that he did is the easier, more like, they told us it's more like a highway compared to the sky running course.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
55K with, I think, there's a new course that they added some descending and gain, and I think it comes out to like 17,000 feet of gain and just over a 50K. So that's a lot.
Crazy,
yeah. And we met some locals. They love their trail running out there. Like, you see tons of people running, which was really cool. And we stopped and chatted with some locals and met some great people. But trail running is so new to them there. It's what were they saying? Like, a lot of their trails didn't even exist until trail running got big, and then and mountain biking got big too. So they got the approval to really make these new trails and to go into these old trails that farmers used back in the day to hike in and out of town and whatnot. And it's pretty gnarly. Yeah.
But yeah, just like Zach said, it's really incredible people that the running community like immediately welcomed us and started helping us out. So
yeah, we feel so bad about.
We're bummed to miss it, but hopefully we'll be back to the island again.
I'm sure they'd welcome you with open arms. It seems a really welcoming community there, and it looked like Madeira trail running tours or something, which I think you were running with some of those guys. That seemed really cool that they have people there to actually give you tours.
Yeah, if anyone's listening and want to go there, like, hit them up. The guys that we went with, they knew everything about the island, and they knew all the great trails. And the second to last day we were there, we went on a run that was one of the coolest trail runs I've ever been on.
Wow, that's saying a lot, because you live in Flagstaff.
Yeah, I mean, we run in a lot of cool. The Grand Canyon's always like close to our heart. And I don't think anything can really top the Grand Canyon, in my opinion. But we don't have water, So like, when you're running along a ridge, or like they kept saying, there's a trail that goes in the middle of the mountain. I'm like, in the middle of the mountain? What is he talking about? But it's just built on the side of this mountain that goes around, and it just drops right into this crystal clear blue-green water.
Wow.
Yeah. So. Pretty cool.
No big deal.
Every picture you guys posted was beautiful.
Yeah, all the pictures. If you're watching live and you haven't already followed Alicia and Chris, highly recommend it. The pictures of the places that they run, pretty spectacular. And I have to say, Alicia, you're getting damn good with the camera. You're leaving Chris in the dust.
She is. I need to buy a new camera.
Yeah, a lot of competition.
There, though, you can't go wrong. It's just anybody could point and click, and anywhere you look, it's.
She has a good eye, though.
You have a good eye, Alicia.
She's like, oh no, I don't, but she takes really cool photos. Definitely.
Way better than Chris's.
Way better than Chris's.
I think better than all of ours.
I always ask her, I'm like, hey, you think you could send me a couple of those photos?
Every time we run.
And just no photo credit. Just Chris has a whole Instagram profile now.
Yep.
Alicia's photos.
Tag her often.
Let's talk about the main event. So I'm really excited to hear about your guys' experience. You both have been to the island before. Alicia, you ran last year and placed fourth. You placed fourth again this year. Chris, you placed fifth. Just like insane. I imagine the stories are also insane. So let's kind of talk about what's it like just to travel to this island, because Transvulcania is not in the mainland of Europe. It's not in Spain. It's not in France or anything like that. So what's like the travel just to get to this island? What was it like for you guys, at least this year?
I think our travel there was cumulative. After leaving Flagstaff, spending the night in Phoenix, and then flying out of Phoenix, it was 21 hours to get there. And then last year our travel was 32 hours to get back, which ended up being more like 40 something because we had a delay. So there's no fast way to get to the island just because it's not close to the mainland of Europe. It's actually closer to Morocco than anything else. So it takes a long time to get there, but it's absolutely worth it because you arrive there and it's like,
it's awesome.
It's crazy. Yeah. The race, the
Wow.
island, the people, it's worth it to get there. But we had a really hard time adjusting from on the back end of travel, adjusting to the sleep change and then trying to get ready for like a really big race. So I think going out earlier is a much better route because we were still really tired going into the race.
Next year we'll probably go out at least 3 weeks maybe beforehand.
Really, that far in advance? I know. Just following Sage and talking to him, he was there a couple weeks beforehand. You guys got there, what, the week of or a couple days before?
Like 5 days before?
We landed on Monday, but I mean, that doesn't even count, I feel like. I can't sleep on a plane. And it's like 3 pretty long flights.
Yeah. And I think just the advantage of going there early to race is that some courses it really gives you an advantage to be on the course prior to it. And Transvulcania is definitely a race where training on the terrain is a huge asset, I think, because there's nothing really like it to train on. Like you can't really replicate it in your backyard. It's just impossible. It is Transvulcania. So I think anybody that would want to go to their race, I would recommend going out early and getting a lay of the land.
Yeah.
So Alicia, you were familiar with this course. You'd run it last year. Chris, you have not, right? I think you've trained on some of the trails, but you hadn't run the full course.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Is that true?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
For you guys, was it were those days leading up to the race, was it important for you to get out onto the trails? Was it more about relaxation? Was there any sort of prep involved for you guys leading up to the big dance?
Yeah, we really didn't run too much that week. We went up to the top of the first climb, which is it's 15 miles to El Pilar, it's like the second place where it's really nutty and there's just tons of people up there.
Okay.
It's the first 6,000 meter hill, 6,000 foot hill.
6,000 feet of climbing up to that point, and you're not even close to.
Yeah. So you start at the coast. You start at a lighthouse in the dark. It's beautiful.
As they told us in the race briefing, 5 meters above sea level.
5 meters above sea level.
It's at this lighthouse, which is amazing.
Yeah, and then you go uphill for 6,000 feet. So the first 13 miles are up all the way to 6,000 feet, and that's how you start. And it's in really loose. I think as they used in the meeting beforehand, they said no traction or poor traction going up the first 13 miles. So it really kind of takes the life out of your legs for a little bit because it's like running on the beach uphill.
Yeah, it's like this lightweight volcanic rock. That's just you can't accurately describe it. You have to go and see it and run on it for that long going up. But luckily both of us felt great climbing that day. So it wasn't really that big of an issue. But yeah, we didn't really run too much on the course. We went and ran. There's this at the end of the descent, there are these switchbacks and it's old cobblestone. And it drops, I think, 1,100 feet in the last mile. Something stupid like that. Yeah.
Wow.
So it drops 8,000 feet for the 32 miles to 40 miles or something like that.
So
under 10 miles, it drops 8,000 feet, which, to put that into perspective, it's Bright Angel that we ran down. That drops around 6,000 feet in 9 miles.
Yeah.
So it's and it's way more technical. Well, we can get to that as we go
Yeah.
through the race. If you want.
So we didn't train much on that because we didn't want to beat up our legs. So we just went and looked at it and got scared.
Yeah,
That's what we did.
yeah. You go and look at it, and like the photos that we posted, like on those cobble switchbacks, you can see Tezzacorte is the town down there.
Mhm.
That's it, and it looks like that. It is steep. If you take turns too hard, you're in the ocean.
You're going to the
Like
ocean.
it's so steep. But yeah, you go there and you're like, well, shit. I hope my knees don't blow out at this point. And it's actually not the worst part of that descent, though. But it's
We'll
pretty
get to
awful.
some of the details, I think, here in some of your descriptions. I want to make sure that we chime in with the chat room. We have a lot of action going on. Kim, what's going on?
We have Jamil Curry in the chat room.
What's up, Jamil? You're a
Friend of
Vipa?
the show.
How are you?
We missed you, Jamil.
He says, how did the Grand Canyon training runs help prepare them for Transvulcania course? Do they feel like they did enough of them, meaning Grand Canyon runs, leading up to the race?
If you follow Chris and Alicia on Strava, they dropped into the canyon a number of times leading
We're
up
like,
to
they're in
this.
the canyon again.
Like days in a row.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, that's a great question, Jamil. And we actually had a really fun run with Jamil in the canyon. And we raced at Transvulcania last year with Jamil. So we definitely missed having him this year. And we only had 8 weeks of training lead up to Transvulcania. So we kind of did a crash course in what we were able to do. So we tried to get in as much steep, long runs as we could. And we have the canyon 60 miles from our doorstep. So I think that really, really helped us. It helped us on the climbing section. It helped us on the descending. The Grand Canyon still is not technical enough to replicate Transvulcania, but it at least gives you a buffer so that I didn't feel nearly as beat up as I did last year on those steeper sections. So yeah, 10 runs in the canyon, I think our legs really benefited from that.
I think without it, we would have been.
Yeah.
It would have been bad.
8 weeks of training for a big race like that is not enough. So for the time we were given, I think that the canyon really saved us.
Yeah, like if you look at our training, we really didn't run like a ton, but we did big runs though.
Yeah.
Like bigger, hard runs. And there were some days where we rolled up to the canyon, we got ready, and we kind of looked down and we were like, I'm not feeling it today. And we would turn around and drive back to Flagstaff.
I think we said something more like, I'm too scared. Let's
yeah,
go
like,
home.
yeah. It's funny, we've run it so many times, but if you just are not feeling it, and because we had so little time for the race, we really had to do what we could leading into it. And if it was a day that you were like, you know what, I'm just not feeling it today, then you don't do it. Some people may disagree about that, but
Not in the canyon, though. It's a place that deserves
yeah.
a lot of respect because you could really get yourself into trouble in there. So
I think we did 9 canyon runs within the 8-week lead-in. And an 8-week lead-in is not nearly enough for that course. But
so don't take that as coaching advice.
Yeah, that's not coaching advice. We had
We didn't
4
have more
months
time.
of like quality volume with skiing too, which helped quite a bit. But 8 weeks is, don't train for 8 weeks and run Transvulcania because you'll be wrecked for the rest of the year.
I mean, I just know that Luis Alberto Hernando, legend on that course, trains on that course, right? I mean, I feel like he's there training on that specific course. That's why he wins it, is because he trains with it. More questions, Kim. I know we got tons of them.
Beatable though.
What? Say it again.
He's definitely beatable. Yeah.
Chris drops the hammer early in the show.
That guy is terrifying though. Like, he's a big dude, and he just has this like presence about him, but super nice though.
But then Chris just says, totally beatable.
He waits till he gets to London.
But anyone's beatable, you know. But
yeah, Chris waits to get to London.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What else we got, Kim? I know we got tons of
so
questions.
just talking a little bit more about training for the race. Amber Nixon in the chat room asked, Alicia and Chris, how did you train for this event since it's unlike anything in the States? So you guys have already talked about the canyon runs. Was there anything else you guys did in prep for this race?
Yeah, any other like technical terrain prep, nutrition prep, any of that kind of stuff? Heat?
Well, We did not do heat training this year, and we really lucked out that the course that typically is half of it is really hot, and we lucked out that wasn't like that. But we would train for the heat in the future, definitely. And I think the course is really it's an uphill climb for 30 miles, and we talked to Ian Corliss yesterday, and he described it perfectly. It's an uphill climb for 30 miles. And then screaming descent down for 10 miles, and then a short little steep uphill. So
what did he call it? He said
sting in the tail.
A sting in the tail, because
Yeah.
there's this like 1,000-foot climb after you
descend for
8,000 feet,
Yeah.
and normally it would be easy, but it sucked.
Yeah. So I think the probably I would say the four most important things for training for this course are sustained uphill training, so where you're running uphill for 2+ hours, sustained steep downhill training, training on a lot of technical rocks, because the middle part of the course is on a lot of volcanic rock. You're working your way around the caldera of an old volcano, so it's like really, really sharp volcanic rock. So you have to be good with your footwork. And then, like you mentioned, the heat training. So those are probably the four most important components. And you are at altitude for the middle section of the course, between 6,000 and 8,000 feet. So if that's something you're not used to, you want to be prepared for that.
And if you're not used to like big drop-offs, it could be it's like vertigo, like there's nothing like it.
But there's a little bit of everything on the course, so I think that suits. It's like by the time you're sick of doing one thing, the course kind of changes, and you're on like a smoother path, and then it gets rocky, and then it gets steep, and it's up and then it's down. It's kind of just a bit of everything.
Yeah, and you could be the best climber in the world and get your ass handed to you on the descent.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be good at everything, really.
In all the stories that I've heard from this race and from other people who've competed and done really well at it, it's come together that this race does have a bit of everything, in the sense that you're going from 5 meters above sea level. So you're essentially going from the surface of the ocean to 8,000 feet at some point during the race. And you're having a sustained effort at altitude for duration of the race on technical, rocky, volcanic terrain, sandy terrain. It just sounds insane. It sounds completely insane. Alicia, I want to talk to you about your race experience. I'm going to start with Chris. So Chris, for you, going into this, not having run the course, were you nervous going into the race? How were the first few miles for you, or first few hours, I guess? Were you warming up? I know that you led for the first large chunk, or at least in the lead group. How did that kind of play out for you?
Well, like you get down to the start, and it's like the energy is insane. There's 2,000 people that are getting ready to race. So there's just like head torches everywhere, and music is playing. And we actually lucked out. My brother was crewing for us, and we stay in this hotel right by the start line. It's just kind of away from everything, but there's a road that goes right to the start line. But this year we drove up to it, and there was a police officer there. He stopped us, and he was like, you have to turn around. And so my brother dropped us off, and we were like, shit, we're still kind of far away, like we probably would have had to run maybe a mile or a mile and a half to get to the start line, which is, you don't really want to do that for that long of a race. And we may have missed the start. I don't know. We were pretty close, but I was like, he's letting some people go through that have credentials and whatnot. And this one guy gets through, and I just hold my thumb out, and he stops. He's like, no people. And I go, she got 4th place last year. And he looks at his wife, and he goes, we get into his car. So, and it's his little, like, he was probably 4-year-old kid sitting there, and they have this little dog that's in the car, and he drives us, and he hits these like roadblocks with all these police officers, and he argues with them, and he gets us closer and closer and closer, and gets us the closest you could possibly get to the start line, drops us off, and we are on our way. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it worked out really well. And I think I said something to Alicia. I was like, today's going to be like pretty good day, you know, like it's working out already. And because she can tell you, I get nervous with that stuff. So yeah, so it starts and it's nuts. Like people sprint off the start, and it starts up this like pretty steep road for about 50 meters or so. Maybe not even that long, and then it levels out. But you want to get like the whole shot because it funnels down into a trail that's maybe 2.5 feet wide. So 3 feet wide in the beginning. It's small, so it bottlenecks. So I wanted to have no more than like, I don't know, 5 or 6 people in front of me. I didn't want any more than that. So I just followed Sage, and we easily got up to the front. And Adam Campbell was up there. Luis Alberto was up there. Like all the guys that I really wanted to keep around me. Sylvan Court was up there. And then it just starts going up, and it's on that ash or that volcanic rock right from the beginning. And I instantly felt good climbing. But like Alicia told me, she's like, don't go so hard to where you're thrashed when you get to the descent. But it's kind of hard to gauge that because I wanted to like play into my wheelhouse and climb and try and get away with that. But I was with Sage and Adam Campbell through Los Canarios, which is the first town you hit, and there's thousands of people out at 5 a.m. smoking cigarettes and just
you probably haven't gone to sleep,
drinking, but cheering. You get really amped up, and you go through this little town, and then all of a sudden you hit the trail, and it's pitch black. And I mean, we have our headlamps on, but Sage kind of made a surge, and I wasn't really paying attention, and I was by myself. I was in second, and then Adam Campbell was behind me. I was messing around with my headlamp to dim it down a little bit, and I take a right-hand turn and take a wrong turn and run about a mile off course. Yeah, so I turned around, and I'm like, it's like really quiet. So long story short, I had to pass about 20-25 people and get back into the group that I wanted to be in. But I wanted to be with Sage and at least Luis Alberto, because I was just going to run to the descent and then go from there. But yeah, climbed really well. I mean, it could take me forever to tell you the whole race, but felt good, and ran with this guy Andy Simmons, who's a really good British runner. Hit the top of Roque, and I think Sage and those guys were like 15 minutes ahead of us at that point. And then you hit the descent, and I actually descended a lot better than I thought I would. And that Andy Simmons, who's like known for his descending, was only 2 minutes in front of me at the bottom. But yeah, ended up, some guy passed me with about a mile to go, and then we hit there's a road going into the finish, and I was pretty spent, but when I hit the road, I was like, oh, I can really run here. So I tore the guy down. It was so loud there, he couldn't hear me behind him. I'll have to send you a video of it. So like
there's a video. I don't know if you posted it, but I know it's on Facebook somewhere. Again,
my mom or dad maybe. Yeah.
Send me a link and I'll pop it into the description of this video. Yeah.
I just got behind the guy, and then I just went around him and got 5th. Yeah, and ran a decently quick time. I think I would have been like 3rd last year with that time or something like that. So I was really happy. I was really happy with everything that we have gone through, and it felt good to like kind of remembered how to hurt again, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't been able to do that for a while. So it was good. I was really happy. And then of course worried about her the whole time. So
I, having had you guys on the show about just a little over 2 months ago, we were talking about kind of coming back from injury and coming back from health and getting into the racing season. We were talking about Transvulcania. Did it play out as you expected, better than expected? What kind of feelings did it leave you with? Decimating with the 5th place, just incredible, man. For next year, like future plans and stuff with this race.
it's like a huge confidence booster for sure. It's like, you know, that you can race with the best of the best. And on 8 weeks of training, we were pretty pumped about it. Yeah, it was good. I wanted to be, my A goal was top 5, B goal was top 10. But like I told Alicia, I was like, I'd be happy with top 10. But then afterwards, she told me, she was like, I knew you wouldn't be happy with top 10, and I wouldn't have been happy with top 10. But I do think that I think if we nailed some training, that race is winnable, and I would like to win that race over anything. There's nothing like it. Yeah. So hopefully next year.
I like that. Kim, I know we have questions. What do we got?
What do we got? What do we got? David Cebulski asks, we're just kind of dovetailing on when you're talking about your race strategy. He says, what was their race strategy? Race to the top, hold on, or go conservative and bottom downhill? You talked a little bit about that. Was that like, did you stick to your plan? Did your plan change throughout the day?
Yeah, I had a bunch of ups and downs all day, but once we got up to the altitude, I felt great. Like up into the thinner air, and I felt great climbing all day. And I worried about the descent, but I got up to the aid station up there, and my brother was like, he's like, you know, like you always used to say, it's all in your head. And I was like, yeah, it is. Maybe it is all in my head, you know? And I ran, when you're running downhill for that long on stuff that's really hard, you get into downhill mode. And I got into a pretty good downhill mode, but at the end, you are so ready for it to be done with. It hurts. Every step of it hurts because you already have 50K of about what would ended up being like 15 or 16,000 feet of gain at that point. Jeez. So you're pretty well wrecked, but then you just go, and it's so pretty out there too. You just kind of gain this energy from it. That's pretty cool. But
yeah, and just for people who don't know, Transvulcania is 74 kilometers, which is about 46 miles. And according to Chris's Strava, it's close to 16,500 feet of gain. That's not change, that's gain. So 33,000 feet of change, which is nuts, man. That's nuts in a sub 50 miler race. It's a monster. Yeah, go ahead, Kim.
Just a question from Stephen Fellows in the chat room. Question for Chris. Any what ifs thinking about running that extra mile when you went off course? Or is that just fuel for next year? Yeah,
what ifs? It's a good question. What if I had done this, or what if this had changed? Anything like that? You're like, oh yeah, I'll dial it in for next year.
Yeah, I don't know. I when I went off course, I went into like panic mode for a minute, and it was so early in the race that it didn't make too much of a difference. I think I did waste a little bit of extra energy catching up. But again, I was climbing, it felt so easy that it actually worked out pretty well, and maybe worked out better not going out with Sage and those guys, because maybe I would have blown up by the top, you know. So I don't know. I think it worked out as best as it possibly could, but knowing the course now, I think I can better train for it for next year, and I can know that I can definitely run faster for sure.
Well, I'm super stoked for your 5th place finish. The kick at the finish, that video, send me the link. I'll post it in the description of this video. Is awesome, man. It is awesome to watch, because you sneak up on this. He looked like a kid. He looked very young, but you just kind of sneak up on him, sit on his shoulder for a second. He doesn't turn, and you just kind of go, bye, and you just sneak by, and you don't even turn your head, I think, until after you turn a corner. It's awesome to watch. It really is like a classic, just I'm faster than you sort of moment. It was really great. Huge congratulations on 5th place, Thank Chris. You. It's got to feel good. It's got to feel awesome.
Yeah, it does, definitely. Thank you.
And what races are next for you, man? What's coming up next for you? Or do you know yet?
It's kind of up in the air, but maybe the Sky Race in France, July. What's the date of that?
No, July 7th.
July 7th, the High Trail Vanoy.
Yeah, it used to be Ice Trail Tyranny. So it's been on the Sky running circuit for a while, and it's kind of changed race management. But it's the next ultra distance, High Trail.
High Alpine, which
High Trail Vanoy.
Yeah. So, and then maybe we're thinking about doing the Golden Gate Dirty 30 in Colorado on June 4th, since we need to get something in now, and we'll be out in Colorado anyway now. So
nice. That'll get you some good altitude and get those race legs kicking again.
Yeah.
If you want to join us for Buck and Hell up in Vancouver, British Columbia, and at the end of July, that's always really fun. Alicia, I'm excited to hear about your story, your recap, because you came off a 4th place finish last year, just crushing it. First time on the island last year. This is now the 2nd time racing this race. How did it compare to last year? How did you feel this year? Let's do your race.
Yeah, a lot of questions in the chat room about Alicia's race already.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
I guess compared to last year I went in physically a lot, just kind of coming from like a much healthier patch of training, but also having no experience with sky running. So I really felt like last year I was just trying to like survive the race, because I didn't know if I could physically like make it through the race. So
that was your first time at that distance, right? Or
first time at that distance, and first time just racing anything that daunting. It kind of felt like a whole new world to me. And everybody describes the race as just being incredibly hard. So it was really difficult to know like exactly what I was in store for. So I never really felt like I was racing. I was just like out there trying to run from the start line to the finish line. But I was fit. And this year I had, I think, a lot less preparation going into it, but I was a much better competitor this year, and I raced a lot better, and I squeezed every ounce out of my body for the amount of time of training I had. So this year it's like I just see it as a starting point for the rest of the racing season. And I'm really proud of like all the things that we both got through this past year, and got to the starting line and just went for it. And like I feel like I stayed competitive and kind of in race mode from the start to the finish.
Did you feel like you were really loaded with competition this year? Did you feel like you were fighting for 4th place all day? Did you feel good throughout the race this year, more confident?
Yeah, going into the race this year, the women's field was much deeper than it was the previous year. And that really excited me, because I like to be out there competing. I like mixing it up with other women. And so I was really pumped for that. And I would have liked to finish higher, but like you mentioned, I really fought for that 4th place. And I can see how, just like Chris said, getting that top finisher place is like, it's within grasp. And I was within grasp of all of the women except for Ida, who got first. She just kind of ran away with it. But when the race started, I was kind of running with a couple of the American ladies that were out there, Anna Mae Flynn and Jody Adams-Moore, and kind of ran with them for a few miles, and then eventually caught up to Anna Frost and did most of the first big climb with Anna, which to me was actually like really, it kind of put me in a nice relaxed state for that long climb, because Anna's run the two fastest times on that course. She's lived on that island for probably a total of like 3 or 4 months of her life, and she knows the island so well. So it was just like really nice just to tuck in with her, and people love her there. So it was like crazy. Like people were going nuts for Anna Frost. She is the queen of La Palma and Transvulcania. So it was great. I shared that first climb with her, and then dropped into the
friends, and you have trained together multiple times, and
we have trained together, and so running with her kind of felt pretty comfortable. But I could also tell that she was just kind of struggling more than I expected, and so You know, when I had the chance, I moved ahead of her and just kind of started going back and forth with some of the other ladies, Ruth Croft and Jody Adams Moore. And after you do that first big climb, you go through the aid station where we saw Chris's brother Andy. He helped us, and when I was doing that exchange, I got passed by 2 ladies, so kind of went into panic mode. And you hit a dirt road, and ironically, both Chris and I felt horrible on the dirt road. Like, that's kind of our wheelhouse, like where we can run fast. And I hit that dirt road, and I felt so bad, and I was like, oh no, this is like what I'm good at. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be making up ground. And I just had like a really bad patch for probably like 6 or 7 miles, and I kept like checking in with myself, and I'm like, why do I feel so bad right now? Like, what is it that's like making me slow down? And I kept thinking, I just feel like I'm running in the middle of the night, which I was. Like, you're running at a time where your body's like, we never run, you know, at that time of day back in the States. So yeah, I just felt super funky. And then, just like Chris mentioned, once we got up to the higher altitude, I felt really good. Like, I started just getting stronger and stronger, like that whole climb up to the very high point of the race. Like, and at that point, you're gradually working your way uphill around the caldera of the volcano. So it's
like a serrated knife.
Yeah,
like,
and you can see it when you hit the first aid station of the first climb. You look out and you can see the high point of the volcano, and it's just like Chris said, it's like just this up,
so far
down,
away,
down.
and you're above the clouds, and it's so far away.
And it's really like, to me, like that part of the race is like what brings me back to Transvulcania. It's the most magical running you could ever imagine. You're above the clouds. You can see out to the ocean. You can see another island that has, it's like a 12,000 foot peak, I think, sticking
poking out of
Tenerife. Like,
it's like,
it's silly.
It's
it's like,
yeah,
it's crazy. And I was coming out of my bad patch when I hit that section, and I just felt like, I mean, it sounds kind of cheesy, but like, I felt so inspired by what I was running through, and like what a privilege it is to be somewhere like that. And I was by myself, and I just really used those moments to kind of like just enjoy it. Like, I was just like, I felt like I was like playing like out on the trails, and I just kept feeling stronger and stronger. And finally saw an aid station that's like midway along that caldera, and saw a friend, and he told me there was 2 women up ahead of me, and I just kind of like went into like competitive mode, and I just started eating up ground, catching those ladies all the way up to the high point. But I was kind of bummed that the climbing ended, because I was feeling really strong and knew that the downhill, you just don't really know what to expect for the downhill. Like, if your knee starts hurting, you're screwed. What do you do? It's so steep. You'd have to tiptoe or walk down. And but I actually felt a lot better descending this year than I did last year. And I think it's just like Jamil mentioned, those Grand Canyon runs. And I took a bad fall halfway down the climb. Descent. Yeah, sorry. Halfway down the descent. Thankfully, I didn't fall on the climb, because I would feel even sillier.
What's wrong with that girl?
Yeah. But yeah, it was actually, it was really weird. When you first start descending, you go through like really beautiful pine forest. It looks like Flagstaff, and it's just kind of nice soft packed trails, but there's like these patches of volcanic rock, and it's super sketchy. But I made it through that, and halfway through the descent, you hit these really, really steep old roads that go through banana plantations. And that's kind of the first spot where you start seeing more people. And there were some guys standing cheering on the course, and one of them kicked a rock loose, and the rock went under my foot, and I went down face first, going down probably like 18% grade, and hit the ground, blacked out.
Rosed it.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think that if somebody had a video, they could make a lot of money on YouTube, because I seriously, I hit the ground so hard and blacked out briefly. But then when I kind of like came to my senses and realized what I'd done, I got up and I just started running back up the steep hill, and then it just I was super confused and started arguing with the guys that were trying to help me, and they were trying to get the blood off of my face, and I ended up taking.
She ran away from them. So she started running. She was out of it, started running uphill, and was like, I'm not supposed to be going uphill. I'm going downhill.
That's a good Alicia impression, by the way.
Like, yeah, like out of fear of them, because you're at that point, you're deep into that descent, and you don't want someone to pull you off the race course.
No, I mean, like you've like fought your way through the whole course, and at this point, I didn't know, maybe I was only a minute behind third place,
right.
Or maybe there was 3 girls coming behind me. Like there's so many strong women in the race, and I was panicking, and they stopped me, and they wanted to. My nose was bleeding from the inside; it was bleeding from the outside. I just had blood everywhere. I had mud everywhere. And so we were arguing. They were trying to help me, and I was just trying to get away. But I mean, I could tell that I was banged up, but it was nothing that needed like urgent medical attention. So I just took off back down the course, and felt like I don't know, like I was scared I wasn't going to be able to finish the race. So I almost started running like harder and faster at that point. And then started feeling like pretty weird, like just kind of woozy, and my head was hurting and I was bleeding. But at that point you're kind of out of the forest, and you're like descending through kind of like more rural properties, and there's like a lot of great energy, and all the local people are out there cheering for you, and you can't help but not like take their strength and just, take it all the way to the finish line.
I can't imagine those last few miles, the pictures that you've been posting of those last few miles, where it's those cobblestone switchbacks that look straight down under the finish line. I can't imagine being a little woozy from falling on your face and blacking out, and being able to navigate those. Did you have any doubts at that point, or is that so late in the race that you're so driven to just get it done that it's attack mode, and nothing else can phase you?
I was definitely really driven to get myself to the finish line, because I don't want to sound like I was like reckless or anything, because I've had concussions before, and I'm like well aware of the symptoms of like a serious head injury, and grew up rodeoing, so I've been bucked off a lot of horses, and been around a lot of people who've been bucked off horses, and so I could evaluate, okay, that I'm going to be fine to get myself through this.
Got it.
So I wasn't reckless, but I definitely did not feel that hot, and it wasn't just my head. When I hit the pavement, I went down so hard. I told Chris, I feel like somebody like slapped me with pavement, like on my legs, like all over. It was like a full body pancake to the ground. So that stuff was just hurting. So yeah, I really wanted to get that finish line, because the last mile, it's like there's so much energy in those streets. So you couldn't not be carried to the finish line. So I made it, and I was really happy to have fought through. And as soon as I crossed the finish line, someone from the medical team pointed at me and said, "You come back with us." And so they took me back and looked me over.
So you're okay. Everything's okay.
Everything's okay. Yeah.
Good. An incredible 4th place finish. That's the second 4th place finish for Alicia. Are you like dying to go back and try again next year? Are you going back?
Absolutely, because there's something that's so captivating about it's not just the course, it's like the island, and it's the people that live there, and how they embrace the race, and you like pull the best out of yourself. And I want to go back, and I want to do better. I finished 30 minutes faster than last year, and
wow,
40 minutes faster than last year. So I had a much better day amidst a lot more competitive field this year, and really did not have ideal training preparation, anything like that. So I'm excited to go back and be stronger and better, and both of us give it another swing.
That's insane to shave 30 or 40 minutes off the previous year's time. That's almost a minute a mile. That's insane. I know we have a ton of questions. Kim's been patiently waiting.
Yes, I have.
I'm so sorry.
Nathaniel Lucafar asked, question for Alicia. Do falls make you cautious later in the race, or is it just all out all the time? So business as usual, or were you more cautious after you fell?
I was definitely more cautious after I fell. I was cautious the whole entire descent, honestly. Like, my fall wasn't because I was not being cautious. It was actually like on a non-technical, just happened to be really steep descent. But that descent, it is not one where you can just like let go with reckless abandon, because
you'll die.
Yeah, and every time you get a rhythm to like, okay, this is like, you know, dirt with like patches of volcanic rock, then it changes to something else. So you kind of always have to be cautious. And Chris and I were talking about it, you know, how do we improve on that next year? And I think knowing that you have to always run it cautiously, you have to improve your downhill skills so that your cautious just gets faster, you know? But yeah, I definitely, after I fell, I was even more hesitant because I thought maybe my proprioception might be a little bit off. But even like right before I fell, a guy passed me really quickly and kicked a pine cone as he was running past me. And the same thing happened. The pine cone went under my foot, and I kind of lost it for a second and then regained my balance. And I thought, well, gosh, that'd be a crazy way to fall. That would end your race. And then the same thing happened again. So it's like you have to be aware of yourself, the terrain, and people around you, because European guys even more than American guys don't seem to like to be passed by ladies and get a little aggressive. And last year I had problems with guys like in their poles, like really boxing me around like on rocky sections with their poles, which I was not ready for.
What else we got, Kim?
Andrew Vargo in the chat room.
Andrew Vargo's in the chat room. Chris Vargo's brother, also a companion during this trip. It sounds like he was crewing you guys. And I believe he registered for next year's race.
Yeah, he did. Oh, yeah.
Which is awesome. That's testament to the race.
He was just asking, how's Alicia making out with her recovery?
How are both of you guys making out with your recovery? Because I know you finished the race and then you went on like a running tour of Madeira. How's recovery going?
I feel like she recovers a lot faster than I do. If we ran today, I'd probably feel almost 100%, I think. But like the 2-3 days after, I couldn't walk for a while. It was pretty bad. I mean, my brother saw us. It was hard. We were on the 3rd floor of our hotel in Transvulcania, La Palma, and they don't have any elevators that go up there. And it was just, it'd take us forever to go up and like to walk up to dinner. And, but it feels good to have that pain back though, you know, but I think we recovered pretty well. Yeah. Being down when we were in Madeira, we slept really well being at sea level. And, for whatever reason, we just both were sleeping pretty solid.
Yeah. I felt really sore for a day, and then my head and neck were just hurting quite a bit, and I was having a lot of headaches, but my legs came around fairly well. But the problem is that we went right to Madeira, which is so steep and so rocky, and the trails we were running were like uneven cobblestone stairs, so it really wasn't like the best
Our
recovery.
First run was pretty comical.
Yeah, it was like so steep, and so I think that maybe slowed things down a little bit, but we're feeling great now. And we just have learned in the past to really respect the recovery. So, you know, even if we could have run 2 days after, it's like, just why?
Sorry. You don't want
What else we got? Hey, sorry.
Alicia, you kind of talked about being in a little bit of a low point during the race. So Richard Reed asks, when you hit those low points, do you have a go-to strategy for getting through it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So sweet.
Yeah. Well, for me, a lot of times if I start getting those low points, I kind of have like a checklist that I go through with myself, like, why am I feeling this way? And usually I'd say 50% of the time it's fuel related. So I always like try to like get something, like I take my favorite treat out of my pack and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have this treat and see if it kind of wakes me up a little bit along with some water. Well, I really do. I eat like kid candy for like 50% of my fueling. So I'll take some fuel in and
wait, what's kids candy? Because I feel like
it's called surf sweets.
Yeah, they're called surf sweets.
They're damn good.
Yeah, they're
really
like
good.
little organic kind of kid gummy treats. So they have like jelly beans and like,
but it's
like
no different
gummy bears.
than it's actually better than like what you would buy like they're like an energy gummy because it's all pretty good stuff, you know. But they're delicious and they don't stick in your teeth.
So surf sweets usually do the trick. And if I'm really desperate, I'll try a little caffeine. And if that doesn't help, then and it's not a fueling issue, then I just kind of start to focus on like, you know, just like good thoughts in my mind of like what I'm doing well or how I can kind of adapt and recover and adjust my race plan. And just like Chris mentioned, like you have those like low points and then you feel good. And so I kind of always try to remind myself, like, I feel bad now, but I usually feel better after a low point. Like I come out of it. I rarely just go deeper and deeper. So, and honestly, like when I felt really bad, I just started hiking a bit more than I usually would and really focusing on like good breathing and just kind of trying to just scale things back a little bit. And it worked.
I imagine you, for some reason, you said kids candy, and I was like, pixie sticks and fun dip. Like she's having fun dip as she's like climbing a caldera. Like everything's good. Or a ring pop, or you know, something just like what? How is that?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, ring pop.
Now I'm like, I want 10 ring pops, 1 per hour. You know, for an ultra.
You should do that this weekend.
Yeah.
Perfect
Switch
Sun
up
Mountain
your
50.
fuel last
I'm switching
minute.
all my fuel last minute to ring pops.
Great
I'll
idea.
report back. I'll report back next Monday.
Great idea.
Stuart Ogden asks, what are the must-have items or provisions that you take with you on these races?
To the race or to before the race? Like
I want to say
you
both
wanna
because I'm
hear all the
curious.
shit that we brought.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, our hotel room right now, but
oh.
it's
No, don't show them the fun dip.
if it weren't for her, like I would be like, I'm not bringing that shit. But then when we get to where we're going, it's like, oh man, this is great that we have all this stuff. So she found like a hot plate burner, like stove. We brought that, and you bring a water boiler. We have a seat.
Hold on.
No. It's like a the electric
things.
thing.
And then you got the water things.
Hot pot. A hot pot?
Yeah, it's an electric tea kettle.
Tea kettle.
Because we try to eat like really similar leading up to the race as much as possible. It's hard.
Right.
Plus, with all of our weird, or especially my weird food stuff, we brought a North Face duffel bag full of like food and stuff to cook it with, and we use those. Sea to Summit makes those collapsible pots. Are like the greatest travel thing that you can bring. We at the hotel that we stayed at they had pretty decent like buffet food every day, so we ate that. But for the race, you had to carry a cell phone, a headlamp, like a space emergency blanket, and at least 1 liter of water. So we dialed that in to where I bought these. We used the new Black Diamond Spot headlamp, which is a really good headlamp, going up. And then when I saw my brother at El Pilar, we got rid of those, and we had kids light. It's called the Black Diamond Whiz. It's like $15, and it only weighs like 1.5 ounces. So that was already in our pack. And
Awesome.
Yeah, so just to be as light as possible, just did that. And then, other than that, I mean, you just bring a bunch of gels and what other weird stuff do we bring?
Well, the main thing for us is like food, just especially when we're going to a different country. And La Palma's, it's not like a very, it's mostly it's not a touristy island, and the grocery stores are like not like our grocery stores. So we just take the food that we're used to eating that we can eat leading up to the race to kind of negate like getting sick or having any issues. I coach a lot of people that have made the mistake of like, well, I ate this and I felt sick before the race. So it's like you just kind of something that we try to not deal with.
Yeah, and it worked out pretty well. A lot of stuff to lug around, but totally worth it.
Yeah, I remember before, I forget what race it was. It was, I don't know, some Southern California race, Chris. I remember you cooking pasta in the bathroom on a Whisper Light stove or something. I was like, what are you doing? You're like, trust me, man. It's the food I know. It's the food I know.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
What else we got, Kim?
Got a great question in the chat room from Amber. She asked, and I was wondering this as well, is regular food available at aid stations?
Yeah, what are the aid stations like on this one? Because we've heard varying stories from Euro races.
I didn't touch any of it. I, again, lucky enough to have my brother there and saw him twice and got enough from him. I actually drank a lot of Coke in the race, though. So similar in that aspect. And then...
Yeah, their aid stations are really great. I mean, they don't have like as many gels or like fueling products at the aid stations, but they have like a wide array of like candy and like warm food and salty food, and a lot of people are out on that course for a long time, and so they do a good job of accommodating people that are coming through fast and want something sugary, and also people that need to like stop and have a meal. And the main industry on La Palma is banana plantations. So they have like tons of bananas at every aid stations, and they're the best bananas. So
they're little bananas.
So
and they're sweet. They're really good. And I don't like bananas, but they were good.
But the whole race organization from top to bottom, every detail of the race is incredible. Including
So
the
dialed
aid
in.
stations.
Yeah.
Nice. Man, that made me think of the question that I was going to ask. It's like,
Little bananas?
No, it wasn't about little bananas.
Was it if Chris likes bananas?
Chris, do you like bananas?
No.
I do remember the question. It dealt with you brought up the concept that people were going to be out there for a long time. I know with thousands of people running this race, as a spectator or someone who follows the race only via social media updates and stuff, I only know it from the elite and front of the pack. I know that there has to be a large portion of people that run this race in the mid-pack or the back of the pack. Are there still aid stations out there for them? Are there spectators out there for them? Is the finish line as raucous for them as it is for you guys? Or is that just something that's like, this is kind of the elite thing?
Well, like Ian Corliss said, he was like, that race is their biggest day of the year on that island. So it sounds like people are out the entire time. It's much like a big marathon, where there's people cheering for everyone. They really enjoy it over there. It's awesome.
Yeah, and the main city where you finished, the bars are open until late at night. So the people at the bars are like some of your biggest fans. Yeah, because they have it playing live on the television. So people are like so well aware of the race from top to bottom, and
they have it on like big jumbotrons on the street, and like it's like nothing you would see in the U.S.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. Do you know the cutoffs by chance, or the total time cutoff?
I want to say it's because I talked to some
16.
guys. I think it's 16 or 17 hours. It may be 18 hours.
I think it's sunset, which is like 9 p.m. there. Does that make sense?
That would be right.
Yeah, I think it's sunset.
Because I talked to a handful of guys that were in our hotel that ran it in like 14 hours.
Yeah, I think it's 15 hours.
15?
Mm-hmm.
18.
We'll check on that.
You guys should just slide over it, guys.
Somebody in the chat room is saying 17 hours. They also said that they finished in 13 hours. And there are still loads of people out there cheering.
That's awesome. Yeah,
that's awesome. No. Congratulations. But for someone like me, that's like, I won't finish in 6 hours.
Is there a chance?
Like if you just finish that race,
it's tough.
In any time is like totally remarkable.
Yeah.
It's So
just the
congrats.
mileages and the gain alone, you take out the whole technical trails and the descents, and it's a monster race. It's a monster race.
Yeah.
So again, you guys, a huge congratulations. Chris Vargo, 5th place. Alicia Shay, 4th place. Incredibly inspiring, impressive, especially coming back from a year of injury and health. I know that that's one of the main reasons I wanted to bring you guys on, was because I know that this was a big day for you. And as a friend of yours and as a spectator and a fan of yours, it's awesome to like follow your journey, have you guys on the show talking about what's led up to this, and now to have you guys after the race talk about it too. It was really important to me to get you guys back on the show. A huge congratulations to both of you. Yay!
Thank you. That really means a lot.
Yeah.
The congratulations are our yay. Just, that was really sad. Yeah. If you're watching the show live, stick around. We're going to keep Chris and Alicia for another 4 hours. I know it's midnight their time. No, just for a couple minutes, because it's midnight in London. Actually, it's past midnight. It's 12:15.
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, just a couple minutes. We'll keep you guys in the post show. But if you're watching live, stick around for the post show, because we'll rip through some questions. I know there's still a whole list that Kim has pulled aside. But every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we do this show, Ginger Runner Live. Next week will most likely be a recap episode of our Sun Mountain 50 miler, which is going to be happening next week. It's Kim's first 50 miler.
Yeah.
And very excited to watch you. Well, hopefully I don't watch you. Hopefully you're already done. So I'm not like standing at the...
I might pass you.
I don't want to DNF. I don't want you to DNF. We're both going to get our damn medals. That's the only way to say it.
No medals.
That's right. High fives. There are no medals at this race. It's a high five race. So we'll get those next weekend.
Is that a rain shadow race?
It is a rain shadow. Yeah. Sun Mountain 50 miler. But we'll have a show next Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific. I will still be in Seattle. Kim
I will be back here.
Right. But we'll try to satellite you in so we can talk about both of those experiences. So come back next Monday, guys, if you are watching live, or every Monday, as the show has been going on for quite a while. Chris and Alicia, remind people where they can find you on social media, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. Alicia, let's start with you.
I
Is that me?
That head bonk really must
Who is
have
that?
shaken it up.
Facebook, Strava, Alicia Shay, Twitter, Alicia Shay,
No, Alicia K. Shay.
Alicia K. Shay, and then Instagram is Alicia Shay.
Instagram is Alicia K. Shay.
Alicia K. Shay. Okay.
So
Alicia K. Shay.
None of those.
Alicia K. Shay. And then Strava and Facebook, Alicia Shay.
Yeah.
That was my favorite social media shout out.
That was my favorite social media shout out. I should have just asked Chris to say everything.
Yeah.
Chris.
Mine, Facebook, I'm not really on. I just have the athlete profile, but just Chris Vargo. Instagram, which is my favorite one, is Chris_Vargo. Twitter is @thevargo. And that's it. VargoRunning.com. Yeah. And AliciaShayCoaching.com.
Yeah, both of you are coaches. Alicia coaches Kim.
Alicia's my coach.
And Chris will hopefully soon be able to coach me. So this will be kind of fun little info as well.
Awesome.
Both of you still have openings for athletes, yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So reach out if you are watching live and you need a coach, because their services are well worth it. Kim has already been... An example, Kim has already shaved an hour and 15 minutes off of her 50K PR.
Yay!
Awesome.
Pretty amazing. Legit. So coaching works. Yeah. All right. So we're going to move into the post show. Thank you so much for tuning in live. I'm glad that we have a nice Euro audience tonight. If you're in Europe, or if you're in Eastern Europe or other countries, thank you for tuning in live tonight. I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed the
There's
Russia.
Lots of new names in the chat room tonight.
That's great.
That's always fun.
And before I let you go, I have to remind you that yes, Ginger Runner has a new album out. I don't mean to refer to me in the third person. That actually made me feel fairly cringeworthy. I do all my own music for all of the race films that I put out, running films, films of documentaries of other people running, for example, Wonderland. amongst the evergreens, all these movies, including many movies featuring both Chris and Alicia from Flagstaff. There's a couple songs from those trips on the album as well. The album is called Canterbury. It is available now on all downloadable locations.
I believe Chris is actually even in the promo.
Chris is,
I think his naked back is in the promo.
Speaking of promo, this is the promo that I put together for this new album. I'm going to let you guys watch it, and then we're going to go right into the post show after this. Again, thank you guys very much for tuning in live tonight. And please go get Canterbury. It dropped
it's really good. It's really good.
Thanks, Chris.
Is. Yeah. I like it.
Number 6 on iTunes electronic albums this weekend. I don't think it's there anymore, but it was, and that's pretty awesome. So here is the promo, guys, and we'll see you guys in the post show right after.
Exercise because they can't get on this machine and even.
Now that's what I call Ginger Music is back with Volume 2, a brand new album from the Ginger Runner. Canterbury is available right now. The Ginger Runner has been hard at work creating 13 new heart-pumping tracks featured in your favorite hit videos, bound to the rhythmic magic of chasing fish. Run a new PR to the pumping beats of Flip Hop. Lost in the cinematic melodies of Where the Wild Fern Grows. Get crazy with the drum and bass of the title track, Canterbury. And just try to tear yourself away from Photograph by Nickelback. Look at this photograph! So many hit tracks ready to be blasted into your ear hole. Even today's top celebrities are loving Ginger Runner Canterbury. Nicolas Cage.
This album is fire!
Donald Trump.
This album is huge.
Louis C.K.
Good album.
Hillary Clinton.
This is such a good album.
And the lead singer of Nickelback. Look at this photograph. Now that's what I call Ginger Music Volume 2. This album is pure fire, so get it now. Download the brand new Ginger Runner Canterbury from your favorite online music vendor right now. iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, you name it. Go get it. This album has 13 never-before-released songs created by the Ginger Runner himself for you to enjoy while you're on your runs, hikes, adventures, or even while you try to forget that ever since you had those 2 adorable twins, your entire social life is out the window. You haven't slept in 7 months, 1 week, and 6 days, and there are times you can't even remember your own name, let alone the specific brand of milk that you forgot to pick up last time you were at Whole Foods, Tina. This music is great for all of that. Ginger Runner Canterbury, available now.
I hope you use this video to have more fun.
Ginger Runner. Yay! So go get it. Go get the album.
Sandstone's my favorite.
That is I love Sandstone. Sandstone comes from the video, the Adventure Club, the Ginger Runner Adventure Club video that we shot going to Sandstone Peak here in the Santa Monica Mountains, which was a really special night for us. It was a beautiful sunset run. You can go watch the video. It's on the channel as well. But yeah, love that one. And love Chasing Fish too, which is literally was me running after Chris Vargo in Fisher Point. Chris barely breaking a sweat and me just like barely able to breathe at altitude. Cool. So I know that we still have some questions for Chris and Alicia. We'll kind of rapid fire through some of these guys. What do you got?
All right. Where to start? Nathaniel asked, does Vargo think sleep issues will hinder any 100-mile races moving forward if you plan on running those long distances? Or do you have those sleep issues sorted out now?
Sleep issues aren't sorted out, no. 100-milers still sound terrifying to me.
What else we got?
Next up, GDK Mouse. Question for Alicia. What are the main points between fueling for marathons and upping it to 100K and 100-mile races?
I think the main difference in fueling between the marathon and longer ultra distances is eating more real food kind of mixed in with your regular fueling products. Just because you're out there for so long, it's hard to keep your blood sugar stable for most people off of just straight sugar carbohydrate fueling products. They need like a little bit of food mixed in there. So I usually recommend from 250 to 300 calories per hour. And if you're running an ultra, if you can make about 100 of those calories per hour be something solid, even if that's like dates or bananas or crackers or gummies or something, but just not gels for the entirety of the race. That seems to cause most people issues, and everyone's a little different, so play around with what works best for you, but try incorporating some real food.
Okay, question from Randy Cafaro. Do you pick the races, or do the sponsors ask you to run certain races?
We pick them. There's some that they kind of want us to do, but yeah, we pick them. But this year we really wanted to focus on the sky running, so that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, it's a full series. Are you guys going to go for any sort of sky running series placement? Any of those kind of things, like accumulating points?
Yeah, I mean, because we got a decent amount of points from Transvulcania, and then they take points from your 3 best world sky running races, and then you have to do
No, not this year.
just the 3 best world sky running races.
So
But we're doing some U.S. sky running stuff, hopefully too. But
nice.
Yeah.
All right, and kind of speaking of sponsors, Robert and Chuck both have gear-related questions. One, what shoes were you guys wearing during the race? And do you guys tend to change shoes during the race or wear one pair throughout?
Yeah, good question.
That's actually something we talked about during Transvulcania, that if you theoretically had enough time to change shoes, it would be helpful to start with a lighter shoe to climb, because you're not really on very rocky terrain for that first climb, and then change into a shoe that was better able to accommodate the volcanic rock. But we didn't want to spend the time making that change. But
plus we had a shoe chip in that race too.
Yeah,
which,
yeah. So if you knew that
that.
you were going to sit down and take a few minutes at the first big aid station, then you could do that. But we didn't do that. I stuck with the Nike Wild Horse, and he wore the Nike Kiger.
Yeah.
Nice. Brought up aid stations. This is a question I had residual. Last year, I remember, Alicia, you talking about one aid station in particular, I think being further than you thought, or the kilometers were off, or there was just a big gap between aid stations. Was that issue resolved, or was that just something in the race that's just something you have to account for? Did you feel like there were a lot of aid stations?
There was totally adequate aid stations. Last year, they took out an aid station in the middle of the race on that long climb along the caldera, and it had always been there, so everybody expected it would be there, and a lot of runners ran into a lot of trouble, and they actually issued a formal response after that, and an apology and an oversight, and put that aid station back in there this year, and we were really well taken care of, and we had cooler temperatures, so it wasn't like it wouldn't have been as desperate this year without that aid station, but it was there, and I never felt worried for when I was going to get water.
Yeah, the longest gap in between aid stations, I think, was 11K, which is not bad.
Oh, that's not bad. That's great. What do you got?
Just keeping going with the aid station theme, Jake Waller asked, how long do you spend at aid stations?
2 seconds.
Yeah, well, we had 2 crew stations where Chris's brother Andy Vargo was there, so we spent a little bit longer there, giving him the stuff out of our pack, refilling our pack. But the other aid stations that outside of those 2, I just went through and I just said agua and
Coke.
Yeah, agua, gracias, and went along my way. So
yeah,
very
the
little
only
time.
ones that took more than, I mean, I was probably at the 2 where I saw my brother. The first one I was there maybe 30 seconds, and then the second one I was there a little bit longer. Maybe a minute.
Yeah.
A minute tops, yeah.
I spent a lot of time at one aid station washing all the blood and dirt off of my face, but that wasn't for fueling needs. That was just because I didn't like the looks I was getting from people on the side of the trail.
Sure. Did your brother have any issues getting between aid stations, Chris?
It's a very hard island to get around on. He missed us at he saw Alicia at the finish, but he missed me at the finish. But I mean, he saw us at El Pilar, which is top of the climb, and then it's these windy roads. There's not one road that has a straightaway in it, so it's hard to get around on. But he got there plenty of time, and super helpful. Like you wouldn't be able to do it without that help.
And you could crew one person at all the cruise stations, but since he was crewing both of us and we had a big gap between us towards the end, that's why he wasn't able to make it.
And he actually crewed Sage at Roque before the descent too.
Oh, that's good.
Sandy couldn't make it up there and then make it down to the finish, and she also isn't very good at driving a manual transmission car, which over here it's not a good place to learn to drive a stick for sure. So my brother helped Sage and a couple people too, didn't he? Yeah.
Your brother's a hero.
Yeah, he is.
I'm concerned in the chat room that since your brother is running next year, they're wondering who's going to crew for you guys.
Oh yeah, who's going to crew for you guys?
Yeah, we're recruiting people.
Who wants to go to La Palma and crew?
Yeah.
Hey, as long as you guys just pay for both of us, plus we should get
and
a
like
dog.
Lots of little bananas.
Yeah, and lots of little
We were
bananas.
actually talking about like getting one of our buddies that's a PT.
Someone that's a PT. I mean,
coming and working on us and then being able to crew for us too would be, I mean, if we could get it in our budget to where we could fly someone out, that would be awesome.
That's ideal right there.
Yeah, I think.
Just make sure they drive a stick.
And you actually could race still too, because you could run the vertical K 2 days before, which is pretty sweet. You probably get you get a huge crowd for the vertical K, but yeah, we're looking for someone that's up for hire.
Yeah.
And one more question.
Training for Ultra asks, what inspires you guys to get out and train when sleep sounds really good? What motivates you?
We're lucky enough to be able to do all this together, which helps a lot. So, if one of us is like, I don't feel like running, the other one's gonna motivate the other. And we're lucky enough with our jobs that we can, if we need to sleep in, we can sleep in. So we're not like the normal people that wake up early and get up at 5 a.m. before work. We often go out to run at maybe 10 every day. So we don't go out super early because sleep is such a big priority to us.
But I've had periods of time in my life where that is my reality, and I have to get up at 5 to get in my run. And I love it, and so I kind of try to find ways to. I get really frustrated for the feeling that I get if I don't get out the door, even when I'm tired or it's not convenient. So it's like I hate that feeling. So I kind of let that feeling drive me to make changes to accommodate it. And even if you can't get out every day, it's like, okay, you have 4 days, then maximize those 4 days.
Yeah, and it's like she was saying, it's fun. It's just nice to be outside. And, it's great.
Nice. Well, I really appreciate you guys taking the time out, especially during a heavy travel day, to sit down with us and let us pick your brains for an hour plus at this point. Travel safe, get home safe. And while you're in London, I'm trying to think of things you can do. You're only there for a couple hours, so I guess sleep. Is probably the first priority.
We went to Whole Foods.
Hey, all right.
We were pretty pumped on Whole Foods.
You just walked in there like, we want everything.
One of everything.
Well, it's awesome again to have you guys on. You're good friends, but you're also just really inspiring people, and it's always great to see you do pretty damn incredible things. So congratulations on your 4th place finish, Alicia, and 5th place finish, Chris. If you don't improve upon those next year, you are not invited back to the show.
Okay.
Not that matters. The show, it doesn't really matter. And for those of you wondering in the chat room, I had an eye appointment today because I had like.
Do you still have cartoon
Do I
eyes?
still have cartoon eyes?
Yeah, they're not as bad.
I had eyes dilated today. Not mine, someone else's. My eyes were dilated, so I had those giant saucer pupils.
He looked like the Puss in Boots cat from Shrek.
Yeah, little cat.
Yeah.
You're tripping on acid, or
pretty much. I looked completely drugged out, so I wanted to make sure to set that at the top of the show. I didn't. So if you thought I was drugged out today, keep thinking it. So that's it. Thank you guys very much for tuning in live tonight, this afternoon, today. depending on where you are. And we'll see you guys next Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific regular time for more Ginger Runner Live. And thanks again for Chris to Chris and Alicia. And go follow them on social. Thank them for being on the show. You guys know the drill. And go get Canterbury. And thank you, Kim, for, again, this is like the 4th or 5th week in a row Kim has been able to sit in here and do
you're
that.
welcome.
I really
it's either
appreciate
I
that.
sit here and do it, or I'm like right behind this wall and I'm doing the same thing.
Well, if I'm going to be uncomfortable, you should too.
Good luck to you guys.
Yeah, good luck.
This weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Monday this weekend. Yes.
Whatever time it is, whatever day it is. Thank you. I'm going to try the Fun Dip fueling strategy and ring pops. I'll report back.
No water.
No water.
Great advice.
Great advice, Coach. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thanks, Chris and Alicia. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.